Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey Kirgizov. I'm Cloud Engineering Management at EPAM System. Cloud Engineering Manager at EPAM System. And today I would like to welcome you at our observability workshop. Let me bring myself on the screen. 1 second. Yep, here I am. So welcome. I would like to highlight that this is the series of events organized together with Rolling Scope Schools, EPAM, and AWS. And these events are, specifically this series, is dedicated to the DevOps course, which recently was launched at Rolling Scope Schools. And today's event is the final event where we will be talking about observability. Let me switch the slide to the next one and give you the link to the workshop. And I will also paste the link into the chat. And I would like to highlight one moment. If you are watching this stream in the VR community platform, unfortunately, I don't have the possibility to synchronize the chat streams between VR community and YouTube. So I encourage you to follow the YouTube and watch the stream in YouTube. That's how we can communicate with each other. And while I'm waiting for the participants to join, let me start my first question, just to be familiarized with the audience. The question is, what observability tool have you been interacted more or less recently during this month, during November? So let's see what is the tool of November. And name the tool in the YouTube chat. Okay, Grafana, Zabbix, great. Any other tools? Okay, while you are posting the links or posting the names, Grafana, okay, Grafana is leading. Let me explain you how we basically getting inside the workshop. So when you follow that link which I pasted you will see. One sec. Yeah. You will see the page where it is prompted the email from you. So you use one-time password option. And please use the email which you provided for the registration of this workshop. If you already registered with some other email, please log out and re-log in with the email which you provided for the registration. After you get the one-time password, you can enter that password in the next window. And as for the sorry, as for the access code, this is a part of the link which I just pasted in the chat. Or maybe I also can do it like this. Let me double provide this link. So this will be your access code. Okay, any other tools? Grafana, Zabbix, security. Guys, I hope you can see me and able to proceed. Meanwhile, let's speak a little bit further. So we know right for now, Grafana wins. Okay. Now we know the tools, but let's name the pillars. What are the main areas of observability which you can determine? please enter to the chat any pillars of observability that you know. Some areas. Let's say Grafana. What is it used for? Don't be shy. I want to interact with you guys. Logs, metrics, trace. Yeah, exactly. 3 pillars as they are. Exactly. So just because the audience of this workshop is different, let me just summarize some facts about logs, metrics, and traces. Basically, I prefer to start with metrics. Metrics are the measurable picture of the state of your application or infrastructure, or its part, the part of the application or infrastructure, and it always bound to the time. So each measurable attribute of the state is connected to a specific point in a time. So having the different states in a certain period of time, we can see the trends. Is it a spike or a plateau? Is it a problem, or is it just a one-time spikish alert? So using metrics, people usually set up alerts. So the alerts mostly based on metrics, mostly. Not always, but mostly. Okay, so we know the state, we know the picture of the situation, we know the trend, but how can we get deeper? How can we get inside of the application and see what is actually happened during this period? And with this, logs can help us. So logs are also bound to a time period, but unlike metrics, they provide more deep information about what actually happened during this period of time. And most programming languages have libraries for the logs. And in these libraries, you can choose different levels of logs. For example, informational level, or error level, or debugging level. So informational level will just provide you the information what happened on the specific step or state of the application live. Let's say I'm connecting to a database, I'm processing the response, I'm writing I'm providing the response to the front end, or something like this. Excuse me. For errors, you will get the information about what is causing the error. So I encourage you to use like try catch scenarios where when you occur the error, you can then incorporate in the log the actual the actual response of this error. So while debugging, you will see what is actually happened. And speaking of debugging, the debugging log level is where you try to put as much as possible information about each and every step of the application algorithm. So the variables state, everything as much as possible. So in your daily life, while if you are making applications, try to use debug level, and I mean in programming, try to incorporate debug level and feed it with as much information as much as possible, because during the debugging process, it will help you a lot and it will save you a lot of time. And usually when I ask question about the pillars of observability, people just name logs and metrics. But I'm very surprised that, guys, you know about the traces as well. So traces are the traces will help us in modern world where the applications consist of multiple microservices, and microservices speak with each other using a application API. So traces will help us to identify the delays on each step of these communications between microservices. They help us to build the map of different interconnections, and they also connected to the logs using the trace ID. So you can dive from metrics into logs, from logs into traces, and see what's actually happened in that period of time with your application. So in many cases, you can even dive up to SQL request, for example, to the database and see why is it slow. Okay, I have a question. Katerina, do you use your email which you provided at the registration form? If no, please provide that email which you used. I mean, if you use different email, then you need to use the one which you provide for the registration. And also, please make sure that you are not logged in into different accounts because it's bound to AWS accounts. Maybe opening an incognito window will help, and try to do this. Okay. Please, guys, put a plus sign if you see this page, the One Observability Workshop page, and we can move further. Okay. 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus. Oh, great. A lot of pluses. So, Katerina, please try to use the different email or the one which you provided. And for us, let's move further. To interact with AWS, this is let me briefly describe you the interface. So here will be on the left-hand side, you will see the menu where we have different steps of this workshop. And actually, this is a very huge workshop. Unfortunately, we will not pass it all today. And if you want to do it on your own, there is a special instructions of how to go through this workshop on your own, and we will provide the link to the workshop, like for general audience. But beware that it will occur some costs. When I will speak about the application, you will understand which parts of the application is already pre-deployed for you. So beware that these costs will be occurred, and they are a little bit beyond free tier. But yeah, that's how you can pass this workshop. Right below this menu, you will have AWS account access. And if you click on Open AWS Console link, let me do it as well, you will be directed right inside of AWS account. Excuse me. And make sure that your region is set to Frankfurt. So, sorry. We will be using EU Central 1 region for this workshop. And let me put this page side by side with the workshop. And I also recommend you to do so. So on one half of the screen, you will see the script for the workshop. And on the other half of the screen, you will see the actual AWS console. And you can pass the tasks in that window. Don't worry about don't having access to several resources. They are not needed for this workshop. So having just being logged into AWS and making sure that Frankfurt is the region that you use is fine. Okay. Did everyone get to this point? If no, then yell at the chat and I will slow down. But meanwhile, let me continue. So just basically a couple words about observability tools in AWS. Let me put it a little bit further here. In AWS, we have native services, and we also have support for open source solutions. As for native services, we have CloudWatch services, which we will discuss today. For logging, for running synthetics checks, dashboards. This is the equivalent of Grafana. Alarms, real user monitoring, metrics, logs. X-ray is for the traces. And as for support for open source solutions, we have AWS Managed Grafana as well as AWS Managed Prometheus. We have support for different tracing solutions like Jaeger, Zipkin, and stuff like that. We also have different collectors like CloudWatch Agent, AWS X-Ray Agent, or AWS Distro for Open Telemetry, always used as the acronym ADOT. So if you see ADOT, this is about this one. So this is what AWS have. And you can also watch the video describing each and every solution further. But let's move on with our workshop. And let me introduce you the application structure, the application with which we will interact today. So as usual, AWS has different type of applications which look real close to the real world applications. In our case, this is a pet shop, the shop where you can adopt a pet. And it consists of the front end deployed in Kubernetes cluster, the backend, couple databases like Aurora, PostgreSQL, Amazon DB. As you see, there are different programming languages used for different types of applications. And everything is based under the load balancer for the decoupling and the handling the load. And this is the application which we will work with today. And as you see, if you do it on yourself, this is pretty heavy infrastructure and it will cost you some amount of money. So beware. Okay, let me briefly explain what do we have in AWS native solutions, and we will dive into logging today. So for logs, we will do it together today more deeply. So I will not describe it deep right now. But for other tools, let me give you some brief introduction. So for metrics, we have CloudWatch metrics. You can see, let me show you. Okay, you already have it here. So most of the observability is located in the CloudWatch service. So here we have alarms, we have logs, we have metrics, we have traces, X-ray traces, we have different events, which then can trigger some lambdas, for example. We have application signals. This is for APM. And we have network monitoring and insights. So for metrics, you can see the breakdown of different standard AWS metrics, or you can create your own metrics as well. So this is how it look like. You can well, we will see today some. We will interact with metrics today. So for traces, I want to show you the trace map of today's application. And as I said, traces will help us to identify the links between different microservices, different parts of our application, and see the areas of problem, like here, for example, or here. And then you can dive into the trace and view in trace and see what actually happened in each and specific trace. Okay. For events, it's not a part of this workshop, but I will just explain you that everything which happens in the AWS is an event. So based on these events, you can create different rules. For example, something put a file in S3 bucket. So making this using this event, you can trigger some automation, for example. So all events are gathered here, so you can utilize events to trigger some automations. Okay. As for application signals, again, service map. You can see the service map. Oops. Oh, it's probably not started yet. Okay, so for application signals, you can just let me go back. Oh, sorry. You can use them to deep dive into different metrics inside of your application, like in provided by different SDKs for different languages. Very interesting stuff is real user monitoring, but it's not deployed yet. It's a part of this workshop, and maybe in some future workshops we will also do it. It's very interesting stuff to work. And network monitoring and insights, container insights are basically the information about the network and deep dive into your containers or Lambda functions and information about the functionality there. So this is very brief explanation of what we have in AWS. And today, actually, I wanted to work with you with logging solutions. So let's jump into logs and into logs insights and open the navigating the interface. And let me walk you through the interface of log insights. Oh, by the way, it also will be helpful if we open the application and we will generate some traffic for our logs using this application. So let's get into the explore the web application option and copy the link for getting the URL of this application, this one. And on the AWS console, on the left bottom corner, you will have Cloud Shell button. And if you click it, you will be directed into the Cloud Shell, where you can interact with AWS using CLI. And let's paste this command. This is actually a retrieval of SSM parameter, which is called pet store pet site URL. And we pass the response to the JQ, which retrieves the parameter value for us. So we don't need to look through the whole response, and we will just get the URL right away. So here is the sorry, here is the URL. Let's copy the URL and let's open the website. And of course, URL will be different for each of you. If you see this page error, something get wrong, just reload the page. Yep. So sometimes it happens. Don't worry. If you see this website, please put an emoji of any pet you like in the chat. So I will know that you are with me. And meanwhile, I will show you what you can do with this pet site. Of course, you can adopt some animal. Okay. You can see the adoption list, like here. And there is an automation which do it for you. So your adoption list may grow and may shrink with the time. So don't worry. And also you can click perform housekeeping, which actually resets everything to the defaults. Okay, I see some pets in the chat. Great. So this is a website. Don't close this page. Just leave it somewhere available for you. And let's move on back to our logging, navigating the interface. And let me close the console and let me go to login sites. Okay. Let me close the left panel and also the right panel. We don't need them right now. And as you see right here, we already have been provided with the standard default prompt, default query, sorry, for logs, but we need to choose some log group to be prompted. So let's okay, Frankfurt. Something wrong with my interface. Oh, yeah, here, sorry. Log groups is not the one. Selection criteria. And for now, let's log pet list adoptions. So you can provide any part of the name and select. You also can select multiple log groups, and it will run the query with all the log groups that you provided. And for now, let's limit the number of responses to 10, let's say, and run query. Let's see what happens. Okay, now we get some data. As we requested, limit 10 says that we want only 10 answers. We get, excuse me, I'm still suffering from the cold. Yeah, we get 10 answers, and this histogram shows when exactly and how many exactly the records were registered in that period of time. So here we provided that the period of time is 1 hour back. We also can do it like 3 hours back or 30 minutes back, or set a specific time period. If you open, let me walk you through the query. So in query, we say that from all these logs, we want these fields: timestamp, message, log stream, and log. But what is the @ sign here? Add sign means that the AWS parses the logs and it provides the field suggestions for you based on the parsing. So timestamp, message, log stream, and log, these are suggested fields by AWS. And if you open any of these logs, you can see that these are the suggested fields. And there are also some fields that are not suggested by AWS, but you also can call them in the query. For example, caller, yeah? Let also include this here. And yeah, you also have after suggestion. And rerun the query. And if you scroll to the right, you will see the caller column also appeared at the response. So this is how you can select which fields you want to look at. Okay, then it's a little bit different from other query languages in AWS. You need to use pipe and space symbol to continue the query from the second line. So it was confusing for me from where I first started to use it, but now I know. So pipe and space. Also, you can sort any specific any field by sort by specific field, descending or ascending. And also we limit the number of responses here. Okay. Let's look of what it says in the in the solution. Okay. You also can view different other queries provided by AWS or saved by yourself. We will save a query later. So, for example, the instruction says that you can run open like CloudTrail option here and number of log events in the region, and copy this query and paste it right here, and you will see you will see the result of this absolutely different query. So we will count every field sorted by event source, event name, and AWS region. And it will give you the number of such events which lie in this criteria. Also, you can save a query. For example, let's have this query, where we select a specific fields like timestamp and a pet type. Pet type is a specific field which is not provided by AWS, as you notice. There is no add sign here. And we also can filter the responses and showing only the fields where the pet type is present. So we will avoid empty lines in the response. And we also we will also use stats to provide some statistics or some calculations for us. And we will use count, and we will count by the field named pet type. So we will have all pet types, and in the response we will see the number of different adoptions for specific pet type. So let's run this query. And as you see, we have during past hour we have adopted 712 bunnies and a lot of puppies and kittens. Okay, I see some questions. The question is, how are these logs shipped to CloudWatch? Some AWS agent application need to be installed and configured on app server. The logs are the logs are shipped to the agents, and these workshops include the tasks to set up the shipping of the logs. Unfortunately, it's not a part of today's workshop, but if you are interested, we can continue the series of the observability workshops and do that as well. But yeah, the applications need to be configured to provide logs into CloudWatch. ECS, EKS, Lambda, send them automatically. Oh, there's an answer. Well, not automatically. You also need to provide some configurations for that. Yep. Okay, now what we wanted to do is we wanted to save this query. So when you click to save and you provide the name of the query, and also you can create a folder or store it in the root of the query browser. So let's save it, and let me show. Yeah, and here it appears. If you create a folder, then a new folder appears here, and it will be under that folder. But right now we just save it in the top level. Okay. And also you can browse the query history. There is a button right here, history, which shows you all the queries that you already have been created and used. Okay, and yeah, as for the help, that's the general thing. Let's move on. Let's play a little bit with our queries. Let me close this one. Yeah, let's stick with the pet list adoptions log group and see what is suggested for us. Okay, for the sorting, let's just use the fields and put the limit, let's say 20. Okay. And in the response, you can sort by op. Okay, I see. Let's use different query. Let's follow the workshop. So let's use the fields timestamp and message and find a specific pattern inside of that message. So, for example, we want to get the message where the pet is brown color. So then on specific field, you can put a filter. So we will filter the message field. And we will use regex to find a specific pattern in that field. In our case, it's a brown color. And also, like I said, with the sorting, we will sort the response by the timestamp. And let's see what happens. Okay. And as you see, well, you can see it even here. Every response has the brown inside of the message field. It's pretty handy, but it's not good for. I'm running too fast today. Sorry. I'm going ahead. Let's stick with the workshops scenario. So as I mentioned, you can sort, you can filter any of the fields using the like expression and the regex expression, like brown here. Okay, the next example is about counting the events. Yep. So let's check this query. So we select timestamp and message, and we will count all events in the message, all the lines in that message, but we will use the slices, like 5-minute slices. We will use 1 hour period, but we will slice this 1 hour into 5 minutes intervals. And let's see how it will represent us. So in the response, you will see that the timestamp is incrementing every 5 minutes. And we will see how many events occurred during this 5-minute interval during this past hour. So this is how you can see the frequency of events occurring in the period of time. Okay. And also in the visualization tab, you can visualize it as a graph. So you see this pretty graph. And speaking about graphs, let's move on. And let me show you how to use some data from the logs to create some graphs in CloudWatch. So let's use the same pet list adoptions log group as we used before. And let's explore this query from the suggestion. Oh, it's not copied. Yeah. So from this query, what do we do? Again, we will select timestamp. We will select pet color and pet type. We will make sure that we are using only the lines where both pet color and pet type are present. So we will omit any empty lines and empty results. And we will provide stats by counting using the pet type field. Let's see the result. Oh, logs. Okay, so we see we did the similar query before. So this is the summarization of the adoptions during past period, like 1 hour here, sorted by the, not sorted, but grouped by the pet type. Now we can create a dashboard from this result. So let's go to the, let's push the button add to dashboard right here. And it will prompt us whether we want to create a new dashboard or we can select existing dashboard. For now, let's create a new one. So, sorry. let's give it a name, and let's click create. So, okay, new dashboard has been created for us, and we also can customize the widget title here. And let's say, let's name it pet adoptions and add to a dashboard. Okay, you will see that we jumped into dashboards interface. And here is our first widget. It's pretty wide. So by dragging this, the corner of the widget, you can change the size of the widget. And every time you do something with the dashboard, don't forget to click Save Dashboard, even if after save is on. Sometimes it does not automatically save the dashboard. Okay, let me double check what do they want us to do next. Okay, so this is just the widget with information. But what about some beautiful graphs? Okay, we can do this as well. Let's duplicate the widget in the same dashboard interface. Click on the three dot menu and choose duplicate. It will duplicate the widget. And from here, you can go to edit. And you will be returned to the login sites interface where you can change either query or change the format, the visualization format. And this time, we will use a pie chart. So instead of graph line, which is not available for us, we will do a pie chart. Oh. Yep. Okay, if it doesn't work for you, just rerun the query. And now you will see the beautiful pie chart. And you can save changes on the top right corner. And you will be navigated back to the Grafana dashboards, and you will see the chart in the dashboard. And you can move the widget and resize it if you want. Yep, something like this. But let me, yeah, save the size as well. Okay, let's create another one. Let's duplicate the widget as well. Click on the three button, go to edit, and let's use a bar chart. Let's rerun the query. And instead of pie, let's do a bar chart and save changes. Okay. Now we have three graphs, and I noticed that we have three graphs, but named with the same name. So to change the name, you can click the pencil icon near the name and provide your new name. Okay, and this is a bar chart. Okay. Everything is good for right now, guys. Are you with me? Please write minus if you are not somewhere else, or if you need any help with that. Other plus. Okay, great, cool. Let's move on. Let's create another duplication of the widget. And let's go to edit, rerun the query, and let's choose visualization line. And oops, we don't have this type of visualization for this specific set of data. Why? Because we don't have time series here. We have just the, let me show you. We just have the type of the pet and count, but no time series. And for line and for stacked area, we need time series. So let's modify the query. And let's use a little bit different query. Let me paste the query here and let's look what is changed here. Oh. Yep. So let's compare these two queries and see what made a difference. So here we had just stats by pet type. But in a new query, we added aggregation period. So we aggregate in the chunks of 5 minutes. And if you run this query right now, you will see a different result where you will see that we have a time series every 5 minutes, and we have a count of pet adoptions for this period. And now, if you go to visualization, you will see that the line. So you can now use this graph for the dashboard. So let's save the changes. Okay, and let's make it larger like this. Yep. Okay, in this section, they also want us to make a stacked dashboard, but it's better to use further section and create the one which has more data in it. So let's move on. Let's move on to querying using fields. Yep, as you see, before we had only one field in the result, but we can create multiple fields. And let me actually just explain you the structure of the message field, which we will use to create subfields. So each message field has post, the method, the request URI, the protocol which was used, the IP and port, and the HTTP status code. And this is common for all the message fields. So let's create a query where we will filter only post queries with the post method being used. Okay, let's move back from the CloudWatch dashboards into the log insights. Okay, now we are back into log insights. And we need also to select the log group. And for right now, we will use pay for adoption log group. Yeah, so you can type pay for, and it will bring you pay for adoption group. And let's paste the query here. So we will use just the message, and we will filter it by the post method. And in the response, we will use the fields timestamp and the message. We will sort by the timestamp, and we will limit the number of responses to 20. So let's run the query. Okay. So here are all our messages which are using post method. Yeah, it's interesting. But if you see the post, if you see the results, you will see that not all of the post methods utilize this pattern. Sometimes people just click clean up button, and different URI was used, different function was used actually. So we don't want to have it in the response. So let's filter it. Okay, let's copy this, the second query. And run it. Okay, now we will have only the fields with complete adoption. Okay, now we will see that like the exact transactions where the adoption has been definitely completed. Okay, this is very good approach, but let's create our own fields besides the one which are provided out of the box. For this, we can use parse function and parse the message and create field. Well, let me copy the query and let me explain it right on the query. Okay. So we will parse the message, and we know that the message consists of several portions. So something star means any number of characters, then space, then again something, then space, and for the IP and port as a delimiter we use colon. And for other fields, the delimiter is space. So we will define this number of fields and we will name them like method, request, protocol, IP, port, and status. So let's run this query and see what it gives us. So instead of having one line, one field which is called method, which is called message, we will have different fields which we also can use them to sort or to group data. Yeah. So this is how you create your own fields using the parse function. Okay. Now, as we see, we can go even further, and inside of request, we also can get some useful information from it. So we can get pet ID, and we can get a pet type from that from the request. So we can also paste another line after first parse. So as I said, pipe and space. So first we parse the message here, and from message we create some new fields. And after we create this new field called request, we can parse this request, and from this request we can identify another fields. For example, everything before let's see some of the requests. Okay. So everything before question mark pet ID equal, this is our delimiter. Then it will be actually the URL. So it ends with complete adoption. Then after the equal sign and before the ampersand, we will have the ID, the actual ID of the pet right here. And then after the second equal sign and further on, we will have the actual pet type. Okay, let's run this query and let's explore. Let me move it a little bit on the left. Let's explore that we will have, we are having now additional fields, request URL, ID, and pet type, which we also can use in our queries to group, to summarize data, and to use in other queries. Okay. Now let's use some aggregation. So we have this URL, we have this, query. And let's let's count how many different pets have been adopted by a specific pet type. Okay, let me paste the query here. So now, as we created the type field, we can use it in our stats to count by type. So you see that different pet types have different adoptions numbers. Okay, we also can add aggregations like we did before by adding a time slices, like 5-minute slices. Okay, let's for a change do a 10-minute slices. Okay, run query. Okay. Excuse me. Now you see that we sorted by the types of the pets, and we see the different adoption numbers in the different time slices, like by 10 minutes. Okay. Now let's move even further, and let's create additional columns here. For example, you see it in one column type, but we want to transpond the response a little bit and see the type as a column here. So here is the query for that, and let me show you what it is doing. Okay, so as a result, we will add stats, and we will summarize different pet types. So type equal puppy as puppy, type equal kitten as kitten, type equal bunny as bunny. And again, using the same time slice. We use 10 minutes, so let's stick with that, with 10 minutes. So in the stats, we provided different columns here, like this one for puppy, this one for kitten, and this one for bunny. Let's run the query and let's check. Yeah, you see that it's more clean, and the data is presented in more readable way. So now we can visualize this data. So if you go to visualization, and for this time, let's do stack area. Yeah. Now you see that this graph can be, since we have the timestamps, we can visualize the data in this in stack area format or line format. So let's add this to the dashboard, And let's use our pet dashboard. And here is our beautiful graph. Let's make it. Yep. Are you with me, guys? Draw some V or W in the chat. Oh, let's do a W. It looks like the lines on the graph. All good. Plus any W for me. V, okay. Mikhail, thank you. W, great. Guys, I'm glad that you're with me. Cool, great. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's go back to log insights. And let's explore the Regex opportunities. Okay. Excuse me. Let me close. When you go to log insights, it also opens the additional panel here on like queries and the additional panel with the different CloudWatch resources. So I usually close them to save some space on the screen. Okay, let's back to pay for adoption log group. Pay for adoption. And let's paste the query which we used before, where we created all the fields right now. Okay. So this is our original query. Okay, let's run it. Okay, this is the result. And this is like the query which we already used, where we introduced the type. Mm-hmm. But this notation is pretty large, and we can simplify the query a lot by using regex. And since we don't need the other fields, we can just stick on the pet type. So from the message, we can just select or extract the pet type and leave the rest untouched. So let's copy the query and let me show you how it works. So every regex starts and ends with a forward slash. So it means that we are using regex. Okay, then after the first forward slash, we will provide the starting pattern, what we will look, what is something constant, which is not changing from time to time. What is something constant before the data which we want to extract, and then what is something constant after the data which we want to extract. So space HTTP is our something which is after the data. If you see here, sorry, ampersand pet type equals is our starting point, and space HTTP is our ending point. Because, for example, the pet type for us, pet type is one word right now, but it can be some more words. So that's why we use space on the HTTP. And in the brackets, we specify the what is actually we want to extract. So question mark means any symbol, and forward slash W plus means any number of words with the symbol. And in the more or less sign in these brackets, angle brackets, we use the name which we will use as a field name type. For us, it will be type. So let's run this query. And it will basically give us the same result, but the query looks more clean and more easy to read, easy to work with. Okay. So this is how you can use regex. And at the end, they say that you can even capture multiple fields. And like we did with pet ID and pet type, let's do it also. Let's change the parse line, and here we also will capture the pet ID and pet type, and we will display pet ID as well. So pet ID. Okay, let's run query. Yep. And you will see that we also were able to extract pet ID as well using regex. Okay. Please paste in the chat plus if you have experience in working with regex before. Just interesting how many people have used it. I will put a plus sign for me as well. Great. On my project, we use regex to parse the alert alert messages to create some tagging and additional information and regroup the alert text. So regex is very powerful and interesting tool, but it may be very complicated to understand from the first point of view if you do not familiar with it. Okay, let's move on and let's switch to AWS CLI. As we already noticed on the bottom left corner of the screen, we have Cloud Shell button, very convenient tool. If you click it once again, we can play a little bit with AWS CLI. We need to wait a little bit, and it's already ready. Okay, let's clean the screen and let's paste the first command and in CLI, and let's see what is actually trying to do. So every CLI command starts with AWS, then which product we want to use, so it's logs, then the command start query. So we are creating a query using a log group name pet list adoptions. We specify the period, start and end period, and we use current date minus 12 hours and like 12 hours back. And we provide a query string. So the query string is fields, message, pipe, limit 10. So we will get all we will get 10 10 logs, and we will extract only the message field from them. So let's run this command, and yep, nothing happened. Almost. It provides you the ID. And to see the actual result, you need to have another command, which is right here. Now you can get the results of this query and you use this query ID. which returned from the first command to the second command. And I also pass it to JQ for it's easy to read, let's say. Oh, sorry, I didn't delete it. I did not delete query ID when I paste the actual ID. Oh, yep. Now we're talking. So now you see that this query return such results, and they are in JSON format. So then you can use it in any automation you want. So you can extract the field, you can extract the value, and use it in any automation. For example, if you want to parse the logs in the pipeline, let's say you're deploying something and you need to check the logs and advance to a next step, for example, in the pipeline, depending on the line in a log. So this is how you can utilize CLI. So it's always a two-step approach. First, you need to create a query, probably wait for a while, and wait for the query to get data for you. And then you can use this query ID and get the results of that query. Okay, now let's dive to interesting stuff. Let's speak about patterns. We can close the console right now, and let's see what can we do with patterns. Let's use different log group for a while. Right now it will be pet search. So let's switch, remove the pet adoption from our list, and let's use pet search. Okay, boom. And let's create like very, very simple query, pattern message. And let's see what it does for us. Okay. It's not interesting. if you will be at the logs column in the logs tab, you will not see anything because this query will not return you logs yet. But if you switch to patterns, which it does for me automatically right now, it will provide you some patterns, some so AWS walk through the logs, through all logs in that log group, and try to identify common patterns where we have common fixed data in the log and some changeable data in the log. So everything which is fixed is stated as is, like here timestamp, for example, or level info thread. And everything which is changed is called token. So timestamp -1, token -2, and stuff like that. Also, let me make the screen a little bit wider. Also, the results are grouped by the popularity, let's say. So how many times this pattern occurred in the searchable period. Again, for us it's 1 hour. Yep, 1 hour. So and we see that this specific pattern, number 1, occurred 95% in that period, and it occurred 22,000 times and a half, 22,500 times. And we will see that this is the info. It's called severity type, but I use used to call it log level, but in AWS here they use its severity type. So it's info. Okay, and if you click to inspect, you will see some samples, sample queries, sample responses, sample logs, which follow that specific pattern. You can see the token values for, as I said, these are the part of the log which always different. So you will see these different token values, and boom, 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 boom. You can also see related patterns. These are the patterns which occurred closer, like right before or right after the pattern that you choose, that you are looking at right now. Okay. So these are patterns. Let's play a little bit with this pattern. Okay. We also can we also can sort or filter this response. And for example, sorry. For example, they suggest us to filter the message like error code access denied. So let's see. Not yet. I'm again jumping further. It is a part of a query. So it's another query. Okay. You also can filter here, and we will discuss it later today. Okay, so that's a different query. So we will filter the message. In the previous example, we just use pattern directly. But now what they suggest is to filter the logs before applying the pattern. So for example, we want to patternize, to create a pattern only on the logs where error code is access denied. So first of all, we filter the logs. So you see, since we did not add pattern here, the pattern tab is empty, but here we have all the logs where we have error code access denied. And now we can add a pattern. And we will use, again, message field to apply this pattern, to identify the pattern, sorry. And now you don't see the logs, but you can see 3 different patterns. And you see that all these 3 different patterns are occurred equally. So 33% of each pattern occurrence. Okay. Okay, now let's try to find not only access denied, but we will pattern by error code. Okay, let's use this query. So again, we will filter everything in the message which has the error. So we will have only errors. But here we will parse only we will parse error code, and we will use star here. So any occurrence of error code here will be here, and we will create additional field called error code, and we will create a pattern based on that field. So let's see. It will show us how often different error codes happen. Okay, so we have this pattern occurred 67%, and the second pattern occurred 33% during the period of time. And log level is none. Interesting. Okay, now we can sort by severity label, or as I said, I call it log type or log level. Sorry. So let's sort, and let's see what would be the result. So again, we will now just pattern every message. So we will not use only errors, but we will sort by severity label, and we will limit the result number to 20 to run the query a bit faster. Okay, so you have error, info. Mm-hmm. And here you can sort also ascending, descending. By actually, you can sort by any column here. So you can find, you will see that 96% is the info severity type, and this type of pattern is being used. And errors are pretty rare, like 3% of all the logs are errors. Okay. Are you with me, guys? Oh, I see the question. This logs inside tool is very, very similar to Grafana log. Exactly. It looks pretty much the same. Yep. Okay. Now another very useful tool if you do some debugging, or if you work with huge number of logs which generate the same responses from time to time. So let's see what dedup function is used for. So first of all, again, pet search. So let's stay at the pet search, and let's run the query which give us everything, like all the logs, all the messages. Mm-hmm. And we will sort ascending. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe I should. Okay. 10K. No, let's limit. Let's limit 20. Okay. And you see, we have a lot of generating pre-signed URL, generating blah, 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 blah. And we have a lot of these lines. And if you are doing some debugging, it will slow down you a lot. Let's say like this. So what we can do here is we can switch deduplication on any of the field. So let's switch it on the message. Okay. Let's use dedup message and still limit 20, just to make it faster. Boom. And you see that generating precise URL is only shown once in the response, and you will see all other different logs which you can then identify and jump into. And if you want to see what happened right before or right after it, you can start. At least you can get a starting point here. So deduplication is very useful tool to just see at a glance what happened. Okay. And we also can use a filter with dedup. So let's have another query right here. And for now, we will use pay for adoption log group. Pay for adoption. And let's remove pet search. And let's have the query. So we will use timestamp, message, and log, 3 fields. We will filter everything where the pet type is kitten. So we will work only with kitten. And we also will work with the pet ID number 022. Okay, so let's see. Boom. And we have all the logs about this specific kitten, 022. Now, if you add dedub at the message or at the field log, you should basically. Now let's guess. Before I run query, paste in the chat how many lines we will have in the response. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Just guess. I'm interested how you follow. Just type a number. I hope this is because of the lag. And 33, okay. And we had 22 before. Let's think. So we are extracting only the lines where we have only specific kitten with specific ID. And it should repeat, like here, it repeats all over the time. Okay, you still think it's 33. Okay. It's 1. Why? Because we use the very, very, very strict filter here. So it retrieved only the first occurrence of this log in the message field. Yeah, this is how. Yeah, 1. Cool, great. You also sorry. You also can dedupe by several fields. So let's see what happened if we also add message here. Oh, sorry, double commas. Yeah, that's probably my fault. I didn't show you the log field before. So log field contained only this the ID and the URI. So that's why it was the same for. Let me fix my mistake. Okay, let me put everything back, and let's get all this 23 data back. You see that log is actually the same. Oh, sorry. Log field is actually the same for all 23 entries. That's why it returned only 1. But if we dedupe by both log and messages, let's explore messages. In the message, we have different, let's say, emails, because different people can adopt the same kitten. So it will be definitely not one response. So let's run. And yeah, it gave you this 23 responses. Well, this is why, because there were no repeating actions. No one adopted twice the same kitten. But if someone adopted it twice, then we will filter that second adoption because the data would be the same in the message field. Yep. Is it okay, guys? With the duplication? Again, if you are like debugging some outage and you need to sift through the bunch of logs through thousands of them, and you want to filter all repeated stuff, you can use dedup, and it will save you a lot of time. Okay, now you probably have seen this button on the center of your screen asking push me during the whole workshop. Now is the time. Let's push the button query generator, and let's move on to the next section, which actually describes how you can create prompts using just native, like, human language. For example, pet list adoptions. Let's switch the log group to pet list adoptions. Pet list adoptions. Okay, let me clean the query just to show that everything will be generated from the scratch. And okay, the workshop says show me last 50 log entries in descendant order. Well, let's play with it. Show me the last, let's say 10. Okay, I changed it a little bit. I think it will not hurt. But you can use just plain English to prompt AI. In our case, it will be, I think, Q, to generate the query for you. And now you see that it generated you this query. So we will use fields timestamp and message. Timestamp is mostly used because it's a key. So then we will sort, and as I requested, we use ascending. In the workshop, they wanted descending. I want ascending. And limit 10, they limit 50. So for me, it provided exactly what I asked for. So let's run the query. And it works. It provided me the working query. Okay, you also can expand the query and provide some additional context. So log entries in ascending order, and let's add it containing the string kitten. Okay, and let's see how it modifies the query. Or I usually use generate new. You can update query if you want, but I usually generate new. And you see, again, we will use fields timestamp and message. We will filter the message by the word kitten. And we will sort ascending, and we will limit 10 exactly as I asked. So if you run the query, you will see that pet type kitten. Yep, we get what we wanted using just plain English. And also you can use multiple data, for example. let's say string kitten where pet color is black. I don't remember if we have blacks. Yeah, we do. Okay. Let's see. Generate a new query. And when I prepared for this workshop, it generated me something like this. And this query will not work. Let's try it. Yep. Because there is no such automatically discovered field in that log group. So, but you already know that you need a pet color field. So you can just fix it by typing pet color. Oh. Hmm. Let me look at the pet color. Yep. Now we see all black kittens. So sometimes it will give you the queries which are ready to use for the first time from the first scratch. But in many cases, you need to look at the query and think before running, will it work or not? Like in our case, the field which it suggested was not present in this log group. I have a question. Yeah, let's try that. That's very good. That's let me show on the screen. Yeah. Let's again try to generate the query which does not have this field. And let's ask it to fix the query. I did not try it before, so I'm interested in this as well. Fix. Okay, and let's use update query. Okay, not fix, but maybe use. Key attributes pet color. Yep. So we also were able to fix it using the prompt. Thank you, IGS Pro, for suggestion. And yeah, it worked. Thank you. Now let's move on. Okay. in the log section, we also have some interesting stuff to do. For example, anomalies. So we can detect different anomalies in the logs using the patterns that we already discussed before. So, and also you can, as I mentioned also earlier, you can run queries against different log groups, not only one. So we already have here in the suggested log groups to use but listed options. Let's add additional ones. So pay for adoptions. Pay for adoption. Oh, pet search. Pet traffic generator. This is the function which adopts the pets for you and generates the statistics and generate all these logs and all events that happened in this application specifically for this workshop. Okay, so here we have 4 log groups. And what we want to do is we want to select events in the log group for last 3 hours. So let's switch from 1 hour to last 3 hours here on the top menu. And we want to limit the results to 2000. And they suggest to use the default query. Okay, so the default query is let me read it. There are 2 ways to do it. You can just refresh the screen, but then you need to add additionally the log groups here. And it will retrieve you it will automatically propagate here the default query. But what I want to do is I just retype it from the screen. So log stream. Oh, it's automatically discovered. Stream from the capital. And log. No, just log. Sort. Timestamp. Descending. And the last one, limit to 1000. So yeah, we want to limit it with 2000 entries. Okay. Yeah, we don't need any prompts. Run query. We can close the generator. Yep, and we see a lot of logs here. And we also see that we have patterns already propagated right here. So let's switch to the patterns tab. And let's see. So we can sort by event count. And we see that the first pattern has a lot of events. We have, well, I actually already explained this. The event ratios is how often this pattern occurred in the whole series. Severity type I already described. So if you deep dive into the pattern, you will see the different samples of the logs that use this pattern. Samples token values. Okay, yeah, that's the just a general informative So let's compare different patterns with previous periods. So now, as you see that we can identify patterns. Note how many columns do we have right here. So we have inspect, we have pattern, we have event count, we have event ratio, and severity type. Now, if we add comparison, right now the comparison is switched off, but what we can do is we can compare it relative to previous period, and let's apply. Boom. And you see that it changed a little bit our query. It added pattern message, and it added the diff command, the diff function. So let's run the query. Okay, you see that we are in patterns and compare mode is turned on. And now you can see that some patterns are new. Some patterns have increased occurrence by a lot, 593%. And I hope there will be some decrease. No. So most of them have increased. So in the comparison mode, you can see how different patterns behave comparing to a specific period of time. You can use like previous period, you can use specifically previous day, previous week, or previous months, for example. So this is how you can compare the patterns occurrence with some periods in the past. Now let's talk about anomalies. Anomalies is something which is not expected. Yep. So what we can do is we can go to a log group, because anomalies are set. Sorry. Not log group. Sorry. Log anomalies. Yeah. And let's create anomaly detector. We will use pet list adoptions as a group. And let's name it like pet list adoptions anomaly detector. Okay. We will use 5-minute period slices, and make sure that you can also create some custom log event messages that you want to filter, or some different log groups, let's say. But we will not use filter right now. And here you also can use the visibility period. Is this window actually is the how many days the anomaly will be considered as an anomaly. And after this number of days have been passed, this anomaly will be considered as normal. So it will be a baseline. So the tricky part with anomalies, and probably I will talk a little bit more about this. The tricky part with anomalies is it's after adjusted. So after a certain period of time, the new anomaly becomes normal. So that's why if you base alerts on anomalies only, be very careful, because from time to time the baseline can be changed or decreased. I usually use ascending pattern. But so what I usually suggest people is to use anomalies with the baseline. So you will have a very high ceiling or floor where you agree that you do not need to breach. And then you will enable anomalies. for certain spikes which are not expected. But again, anomaly can adjust. You need to have a level which never can be breached. So yeah, that's my couple words about this. That's how you identify how many days anomaly should be an anomaly. So let's activate anomaly detection. Okay. Are we? Oh, we almost at time. Yeah, thank you, Ivan. Boom. Let me look. What do we have left here? Well, for anomalies, to finish with this section, we need to pass some time to generate some data. You will see this anomaly right here when it generates enough data. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have right now some time to gather statistics for it. But this is how the anomalies are created. And then you can create, as I said, alerts based on these anomalies. So since we are at time, thank you very much for being with me today. And let me show you the page with the feedback form. Please leave a feedback for this session, and if you would like the continuation, if you like the format, and if you would like the continuation of the series, because this workshop is huge. So if you want to deep dive more in this workshop, please leave the comment in the feedback that you would like to continue, and in the future we will provide the continuation of the series. And for now, thank you so much for being with me, and stay tuned for our future workshops. Bye.